Hallelujah, Christ is risen. When I say those words in this empty church, there's almost an echo. It's almost, if I had said these words in an empty tomb, there is an echo. On the Easter Vigil, in the darkness of April 11th, when I lit the Paschal candle, the church was dark and it was empty. There were no overflowing crowds in the church like there was last year. No outrageous number of people jamming in here to celebrate Jesus' resurrection like last year. People, they just weren't showing up dressed in their Easter finest. Rather, it's been a time of turmoil and of loss. Anxiety fills the air. People are shaken as if by an earthquake. The future is unknown and uncertain. In many ways, this particular Easter season sounds very much like the first Easter. The sounds of that first Easter were very, very still. The Easter Gospel speaks about that great earthquake that happened at the first day as the week was dawning, that day in which the stone was rolled back from Jesus' tomb. The Gospels speak of that first Easter when only 2 women showed up on that first Easter, Mary Magdalene and the other Mary. Again, it strikes me that Easter this year really wasn't much different from the very first Easter. Regardless of what's going on around us, regardless of how many people show up, regardless in what ways in which we do or we don't celebrate this feast, Easter happens. God is faithful, and Easter happens in whatever circumstances of our life and our world might be. It did back then, and it does now. Easter happens. Jesus' Easter message is very simple and straightforward. Do not be afraid. Go tell my brothers to go to Galilee, and there they will see me. Those are the words that Jesus spoke to those 2 women on that very first Easter day. And that is exactly the same message that Jesus tells us during these days. Whether we are by ourselves, with another person, or with our families, it is the same Easter message that we heard last year when the church was packed and overflowing. Do not be afraid. Go to Galilee, and there you will see me. Go to Galilee. That's where the first disciples were from. You might say that Galilee was their hometown. The risen Christ could just as well have said, go home, and there you will see me. So let me ask you this. Where might you see the risen Christ today and tomorrow and the next day and the day after that? Where will you meet Jesus? Maybe in the people who are most familiar to you. Maybe you will discover Jesus in the stranger standing 6 feet away. Maybe you will see Jesus in the person wearing a mask. Maybe we will see Jesus in the meal shared with only 2 or 3. Maybe we will encounter the risen Christ in the turmoil of our lives, in our own home, in our own marriage, in our parenting, in your caregiving for a parent or a neighbor. Maybe we will discover Jesus in our suffering and in our sickness. Maybe we will discover Jesus in our loneliness, in our isolation. Maybe we will discover Jesus in our hopes and in our dreams, in our successes, in our failures, in the beauty of creation, in your gratitudes and your thanksgivings. Yes, in all of these and in all of the thousands of other places in our ordinary life is where we will see the risen Lord. Easter is happening. And if we cannot see Jesus in the ordinary and the everyday life, we will surely not see him among overflowing crowds, fancy dresses, Easter egg hunts. And neither will we see the risen Christ in our alleluias, the lilies, our hymns, the paschal candle, the bread and wine, the beauty of our church. Easter always happens in the ordinary and the everyday stuff of life. Do not be afraid. Go to Galilee, and there you will see him. That is the Easter promise to you and to me. Easter happens and is already happening in the Galilee of our lives. Alleluia! Christ is risen. Let those words echo through your life and through your home. Let them echo like they might echo in an empty tomb. Easter is happening, and together with the risen Christ, we are going to make it through this. Alleluia! Christ is risen. Joey and Mary Catherine Izzo, our wonderful music ministry, will now sing a meditation, Because He Lives. Alleluia! Christ is risen.
I believe in the Son. I believe in the risen one. I believe I overcome by the power of His blood. Amen. Amen. I'm alive because He lives. Amen. Amen. Let my song join the one that never ends, because He lives. I was dead in the grave.